The fight atop the charts is still extremely tight. However, the big news comes from the forum, where on Tuesday Mick Cledge announced he will no longer take part after the checkered flag has been waved in virtual Cheshire. We'll give out more information on that later on in the show. This obviously leaves the door wide open for Pawlowski and Olenek, who are separated by a mere 4 points heading into the last stretch of the season. With everything still in the line, the rugged, fast and narrow design of the Oulton Park circuit is going to be one of the biggest hurdles our drivers still have to overcome. So join us now as we get ready to watch round 10 of the Grand Prix Legends Series live on the global SimRacing channel via the iRacing eSports network. The crew to give you all these stats and storylines today will be Ryan Walker, joining myself, Stefan Schlacher. Turning knobs and pushing the buttons behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Still inheriting the vibe of long-gone racing days, the narrow course at Oulton Park sure still is a racing gem. Exactly how much of a gem it is, you're gonna see now with a lap around through our GSRC lap guide. The very great Joe Peak talking your lap once again around this time Oulton Park circuit. Ryan, what else can you tell us about this beautiful little track?
So this fantastic track is famous for hosting the rounds of the British Touring Car Championship, also the Formula 4 Championship, I should say, the British GT Championship, and a whole range of other series as well, some club series as well. Some details about the track as well: 2.7 miles, 2.7 miles in length, or 4.3 kilometers if you're American or just prefer to use kilometers. Has 12 turns, 7 of them being right-handers and 4 of them being left-handers. Is located in the village of Little Birdworth in Cheshire, England.
Thank you very much for that. Right, next up on the agenda here for our pre-show, as always, is the Drivers' Championships. Starting off with that bespoken F1 Drivers' Championship. Still in first place is Mick Cledge, but he is gonna go on, I think it's a full year-long trip on his bike around the globe. So he obviously will not take part during that, and thus this is the last round for him right now, sitting in first place with those 324 points. In behind the 24 points, Roman Pawlowski, he most definitely is going to take over sooner or later the championship. Or is that Rob Olenek, the other guy? 4 points behind him, 28 points in total. But it's going to be really interesting what is happening fourth and fifth. Will Mick Cledge fall behind them? Because that's 130 points already down to fourth place. Michel Dudino and Sadro, 151 points behind in fifth place. Don't think they will have any more sayings in this championship after this round. Right? I think F2's though is a lot tighter than we see in the F1.
Yeah, for most of the season, the F2 Championship has been real close at the moment. That's currently being led by Bill Tyler, who's slowly pulling away from Antonio Reyes in second place, who has 20 points behind. And then in third place, it's Andre Eng, who's been consistent for most of the season, just finishing races and picking up points. Further back, 88 points behind. And fourth place is Andreas Bruno, who's kind of had an up and down season in fourth place. So I think he'll be out of contention for this F2 Championship. And rounded out the top five, 116 points further back is Colin Coker. And as it stands, it looks like it will just be a two-horse race for that championship.
Last but not least, we also have the Nations Cup that they also used to run back in the old days of Formula 1. They didn't have a Constructors' Championship, that was a Nations Cup, and that is being led right now by Germany, 380 points to their name, 4 points behind United States. So pretty much the same thing as in the F1 Championship, it's Germany leading USA. Behind we have the UK, 28 points behind, France in fourth, 184 points. Already in the deficit, and Portugal 191 points. So those two probably will fight out fourth and fifth, just like in F1 Championship, but I don't think they will get any further than that. Ryan, how are we looking for today's race?
So some race details about today for anyone that's tuning into the series or as never watched it before or tuning in for the first time. Basically, this is round 12. Round 10 of 12, I should say, my bad. The race length for this race will be 16 laps, and as always with the setup, it will be open, so anything you want to change, right, tight, tyre pressures, camber, anything like that in the setup, you're free to do so. And the incidents for this race, if you go over 17, setup, it will be open, so anything you want to change. And if you reach 25 or go over 25, you will be automatically disqualified from this race. So these drivers will have to be very careful today around this track with regards to off tracks and incidents.
Yeah, pretty much there, Ryan. 15 brave drivers have found themselves locked into the server at beautiful virtual Oulton Park Circuit. As always, you're able to watch these 15 guys on this broadcast via the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure to like and especially subscribe if you haven't done so yet. You'll know if you Well, Michel Trinot is going to be ahead of your field with nobody else being able to qualify anymore as the time has run out. Let's head over to our qualifying results. As already said, Michel Trinot, he is going to be your pole sitter for today. Overturning rate going to be sitting in second place with a 121.855. He's your first challenger, but 2 tenths away from Michel there in second. Rob Olenek leading up the second row of the field, 22.119, gets him into third place with Dave Price. Old name already in this series, haven't seen him for quite a while, so good to see Dave Price being back and already being in top form. Fourth place for him. Peter Mikos, fifth place for him, with Roman Paslowski in sixth. Daniel Sadler will lead up in seventh. Bruce Nelson, eighth place. David Rossi in ninth, and Andrew Eng will take home a 10th place on the grid.
Starting in 11th place is Antonio Reyes. Colin Coker will start alongside him in 12th. Telmo Amaral will start in 13th. And the last two cars on the grid that did not set a time was Don Good in 14th and Robert Reynolds rounding out the grid in 15th.
Yeah, seems like that Mick Kletch isn't even going to take part here in this race today, as he is not on a grid, not in a server either. So Mick Kletch already deciding that he has done his duties in this series. Obviously, best of luck to him on his adventures around the globe with his bike, as our engines are starting to get harmonized. The green flag is waving. Great start for second place driver Orve and Trengerate, or is side by side with Michel Trinot leading into turn one. There's also now Rob Olnig on the outside of Trengerate, who was a little bit gingerly into turn one. Side by side now they go into Cascades Turn number 3, who is gonna come out on top in that battle? Nobody. Yes, no, wait, it is Rob Olnick drifting past over Trangrate. So Trangrate, after challenging for first place, he's actually losing one to Rob Olnick.
Just looking throughout the field as well to see if anyone had any issues, and it looks like everyone's managed to make it through lap 1 so far without any issues, and it's nice and clean. So so far so good, Stefan.
Very much indeed. Michel Denino leads the cars for the first time over Hilltop, which also is, by the way, the highest point of this track. Doesn't look very much so, but it actually is by just about 2 meters, if I've got those elevation changes correctly in. And there's a mistake from over Trangrate. Oh, he's spinning! Hard into the wall at Clay Hill for over Trangrate. That obviously moves everyone behind him 1 position up. Dave Price, Roman Paslowski, Sadro, Peter Mikas, they're all now profiting of that mistake from Ovid Trangrate as they head into Deer Leap for the very first time, and with that completing the first lap.
So yeah, it's still Dudu on leading from Olenek at the front, but yeah, the man that's had a great start on lap 1 at the moment is Dave Price, first time back in the series, and he's running P3 at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have seen him already in this season, as Peter Mikus has a look at Daniel Sadra for 5th place, but nearly runs into him as he had a big wobble on the inside of him. No touch, though, given to either one of those two. And interestingly, Rob Olenek seems to have a better pace already here in the race than in the qualifying. He's really hounding that back of Michel Dudinho's car. Look at those cars moving over Hilltop. I had a go today earlier in the morning, Ryan, and I can tell you, this really is one of the greatest challenge, I think, apart from the Nürburgring Nordschleife these guys have to manage.
The Lotus 49 is one of those cars that you've got to be really smooth with.
Roman Paslowski with a big mistake through Lodge corner, no, sorry, Druid's corner, loses 2 positions there to Daniels and gonna get you onto the replay there. Just caught it out of the corner of my eye. What happened to Roman there? Oh, just simply too fast, Ryan.
Yeah, he just it looks like he just carried too much speed and just ended up running wide onto the grass. But luckily, he managed to keep going, and he's still in one piece. But he's got a bit of a slight, well, just a little scratch in the front end, but nothing major.
One great battle we have right now on the track is the one for 4th place. I already mentioned Daniel Sandra and Peter Mikus nearly having a run together into Cascades, but look at Peter Mikus looking to the outside of Shell Oil's corner. That's not really gonna work, but maybe he gets a better run through Britons here. Doesn't look like so. These cars mostly in the air here, up and over the hilltop, than really being on the ground and putting on some forward motion.
Yeah, as they just went through Knickerbrook and Sadro under pressure from Mikas, and Peter Mikas for me this season, or the latest stages of the season, has been the man on form for me. Well, he's been one to watch.
Let's see, Peter Mikas, maybe he does something into large corner. No. Continues to stay behind. Dearly, very treacherous corner in this Lotus 49. No traction whatsoever for them, and then suddenly have that big compression giving you quite a lot of traction, which you might get a little bit surprised of if you have too much steering wheel angle on. Still, Daniel Sadro is leading this battle pack for 4th place. Also in behind Roman Paslowski. After his mistake, he's starting to get closer. Now comes a mistake from Daniel Sadro. He feels the pressure. Peter Mikas immediately goes to the inside. That's gonna now island corner side by side. Both extremely careful not to hit each other. And Peter Mikas gonna take away that 4th place from Daniel Sadro. Or does see Sadro comes a little bit back there on the inside. That gives him a bad run out of Shell Oil's corner though. Roman Paslowski on the outside now through Britons, but runs on the grass there a little bit, so he gets no run on that 5th place.
As Sadro run. Ooh.
passed there by Roman. Sorry, Ryan. Got a little bit excited there by Daniel Sadro making that mistake. So in just pretty much 3 corners, he loses 2 positions. Oh, Roman loses his car. That's into the wall. Can he save it? No, he cannot. That's a heavy impact. Roman Pawlowski, the second time he has troubles through Druid's corner as we go on to the chopper there. This time on the exit, hits the tire barrier ever so slightly, and then you can see how bumpy that grass is and completely buries it into the Armco barrier. That's his race done.
Riding on board with Roman at the moment, and it's like you say, he just ran wide onto the curb and it just unsettled the car, and unfortunately got on the grass, hit the wall for a second time, and that's the car done. As I believe you've also got a replay of Ove Trengri at the start as well.
Yeah, we do have one of that, but let's actually see that. Not now, but we can get to that a little bit later as we're looking at Michel Dudignon right now in first place, about 6/10 ahead of Rob Olenek, who himself is about 2 seconds ahead of Dave Price. We still have a great battle running on for 5th place behind Daniel Sadro. Peter Mikkel's spins ahead of him. Druid's corner once again, the trouble point for these Lotus 49s. Daniel Sadro has to avoid, nearly loses his car himself because he has to go into the grass. And all of that, David Rossi gains 2 positions, suddenly finds himself in 4th place.
Yeah, that was an exciting few corners. To a bit that woke Daniel Sadro up anyway, that's for sure.
Are in for some excitement right now, all about that 4th place with Daniel Sadro. Now, still once again finding himself in 5th place. Just can't get. Let's actually have you hop onto a replay there with what happened with Peter Mikus at first, and then we're also gonna see what happened to Daniel Sadro after he had to avoid Peter Mikus. There you can see extremely sideways for Mikus. Because of that, completely loses the car on the grass right into the tracks of Sadro. That's how you put on some artificial excitement, I would say, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're looking at this battle for P4 between Rossi, Sadro, and Andrew Eng at the moment, and yeah, I've been loving this battle for the last couple of laps. It's been really close between these guys, and the Lotus 49. The Lotus 49 has proven once again why it's one of the most popular series that's been broadcasted on GSRC.
Andrew Eng there for a short period of time runs out of internet juice, but he's back with us again, hounding that back of Daniel Sadro. Seems like Eng is able to go a little bit faster right now in his number 11 car. Andrew Eng there for a short. Of him. David Rossi, a little bit of a mistake there through Cascades, gives a great run to Daniel Sadro. He goes to the left side. Next up, that's Island Bend. Once again, we have seen Sadro and Mikus going side by side there. Oh, a little bit of a slide by Rossi on the outside, inside Full Shell Oil's corner. But it's not going to give him too much of an advantage as he holds an extremely narrow line there through that bank corner. That obviously gives the drive to Sadro, who nearly spins himself out over those bumps, keeps it all together. Andrew Eng tried to do also a little bit of a move there on Rossi, but he got cut off by him. So these 4 cars remain very exciting as they run once again through Water Tower.
Yep, Sadro up into P4 and managed to get the run on the exit of the corner heading up the straight, and I'm just looking back up at the front as well. It's still Dudignon leading from Olenek, and Dudignon's managed to build up that gap to just about a second, so it's slowly pulling away from Olenek, but Olenek's keeping in touch with him just.
In behind this 4-car battle pack as Peter Mikus now makes the move on Andrew Eng after Andrew Eng has that mistake made out of a deal leap. We can report over Trengrid after his first lap incident. He is still running now up to 8th place and quickly catching this 4-car train ahead of him. So Let's see actually what happened to Overtranglerate in that first lap, because I didn't really catch it myself, just saw him spin out. But yeah, Overtranglerate still going very strong after that hit with the barrier.
So I just looking at the replay of Overtranglerate to see what happened, and yeah, I never had the chance to see it myself, so I'm just watching now as it come down to the first couple of corners, and it looks like he's fine at the moment, but I think it's roundabout just after Knickerbrook that something happens to him.
We're a little bit far ahead, or far behind right now with that replay, but it doesn't matter too much, as it is going to be a little bit of a setup now out of Shell Oil's corner for Overtranglerate, where he did try to get a run on Michel Didino ahead of him, and then I think just through Nico Brooks, just a little bit too exciting. And yeah, finds himself on the grass and hits the barrier quite hard. As said, you can see it now on your screens. Overtranglerate pretty much at the back end of this train right now. And Daniel Satter, after he got past David Rossi, he is starting to run away with that fourth place a little bit. Right now already, what is that, 1.2 seconds ahead of David Rossi. 4/10 behind him, that's Peter Mikus. Andrew Eng just behind, and an Overtranglerate sliding his way through Island Corner.
Sadro's managed to pull away and just build up a little bit of a gap, and as you say, he's slowly pulling away in P4, and I'm not sure if he'll be able to maybe catch. No, I was going to say I don't think he'll be able to catch Dave Price, because Dave Price is well ahead at the moment in P3, so at the moment Price will have that podium in the bag, but it's too early to say.
Peter Mikus looks left, looks right, doesn't find a way through right now, kind of like Monaco right now, where you only have to place your car a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right to deny any passing opportunities to the car behind. And Peter Mikus finds himself just extremely boxed in behind that number 10 car of David Rossi. Now he goes to the right side though. That's one of the best opportunities you can have here going into Old Hall Corner. But once again, just David Rossi better on the brakes than Peter Mikus himself. So has to stay behind for at least another turn. Cascades has already proved to be a good setup point for Island Corner. He gets a better run out of Cascades. This might be the chance for Peter Mikus to move himself into the top 5. Goes to the left side. That's the inside for Island Corner. But once again, the outside for Shell Oil's Corner. Peter Mikus. Oh, he crashed behind David Rossi and entering hard into the wall. Oh! Bruce Nelson gets caught up in that as well. This wasn't pretty at all. David Rossi, I think, just tried to cut off Andrew without realizing he was already to his inside.
Just look at the replay as well to see what happened, and it looks like it might have been both of them get caught up, and unfortunately another car got caught up in the incident as well, and it just got tagged. That was unfortunate for those guys because they were having a good race, but who this does help out in the F2 championship anyway. It helps out Antonio Rees, who is up into 7th place at the moment. So if he keeps going, he could take some points and close the leader in the F2 championship.
Yeah, I think that wasn't the best showing there from David Rossi re-entering the track like that. Either way though, we now have Overtranglerate behind Peter Mikus for 5th place. All the action so far has been happening around that 4th and 5th place. As now once again Peter Mikus, a little bit of a slide through Island Corner. Doesn't give anything away though. That 4th and 5th behind him.
And I think it's a good recovery from Ovi at the moment. He's considering his issues on lap 1. He's done well to come back up into P6.
Oh, Ovi, that's into the wall for him! Upside down, that's one roll, that's another one. That's at least 10 points from the jury for that. Never mind, it's 6. As he lands on his roof, Overtranglerate with that mistake, big mistake from him. His race is also done.
Yeah, look at the replay of Obi on board, and he might have just lost it over that bump going over the hill. And yeah, indeed, he unfortunately loses it over the bump, and yeah, that's his race over, done basically.
This just shows how hard this track is to race. One of the best drivers in retro cars just made one of the biggest mistakes you can make over hilltop and pays dearly for that. Oh, it's Rangerade with that out of the race. And that leaves, I think, only 8 cars in this race. Yeah, 8 cars with Overtrain now being retired. That leaves Telmo Amaral as the last car in the race in 8th place.
Yeah, it seems to be everyone's. It's all kicking off, or people are just around this track with this car. It's an easy thing to do. You can lose it over the bumps, and yeah, once you lose it over the bumps with this car, it's you're just most of the time you're just a passenger.
Unfazed thus far by all of those troubling incidents behind him, Michel Dudignon still leads your race here after 12 laps that he just completed, about 3 seconds ahead of Rob Olenek in second place, with Dave Price in third, about 10 seconds already back on your lead, and then a big jump back to fourth place, about 11 seconds between Dave Price and Daniel Sandro, who is himself sitting in fourth place, with Peter Mikus not getting a single position thus far in all the troubles that he has seen. He started in 5th place, still race in 5th. Yeah, we're on board, looking over the shoulder of Rob Olenek, one of the brave drivers still in this race. And I have to go back a little bit and have to say Robert Reynolds right now in 8th place. He is still racing, and also Colin Coker 7 laps down after his mishaps. He is still running in 14th place right now. So in total we have still 9 cars racing around.
Yeah, it's good to see some cars still going around. It's not as big a grid as big a grid, I should say, as we've had in previous rounds. But it's still good to see the 15 cars turning up today, or 15 cars on the grid. So for one of my favourite tracks on iRacing, as you look at Colin Coker in 13th at the moment, still running, or last of the runners anyway. So still good to see some people going after their issues.
Well, we are down to just 5 cars being returned, as now also Bruce Snelson makes his way back out of the pits after he had that coming together with David Rossi and Andrew Ang. As there's a car super wide through corner ahead of him, that was Colin Coker. Nearly, barely avoided barriers there. Once again, just shows how big of a problem point that island corner really can be. Back up to Rob Olenek. Right, it does seem a little bit that Rob is closing in again, but I wonder if Michel Dudignon just controls that gap right now.
I was just about to mention the same thing. It looks like Rob is slowly closing on Michel at the front, but I think Michel's he's just controlling the pace, and he's not pushing too much. He's just maintaining that gap with what we've got, with just about 1 lap left of this race. So, or the next lap will be the last lap. So I think he's just controlling the pace and just doing his own thing, and I think Rob's just running out of time to try and close the gap, possibly.
Yeah, just 2 more laps to go, as now also Telmo Amaral is being led by Rob Olenek, putting him a lap down. Last lap about 1/10 in between Michel Dudignon and Rob Olenek in favor of Michel Dudignon, pretty much confirming what we both thought of the gap between Michel and Rob. Looking a little bit further down the road, that's Peter Mikus we're on board with, the 5th place driver, trying to chase down Daniel Sandro. Thing is, though, for Peter Mikus, he doesn't have a lot of time left to close in those 2.5 seconds. but he is also not too much faster than Daniel said, with the last lap pretty much being the exact same time.
Yeah, these guys have been on equal pace or close to each other on pace for most of this race, and I think Daniel was doing something similar to Michelle, just maintaining that gap and maintaining the pace, and just wanting to get to the finish and finish this race. And it's good to see Daniel back in the grid, because he had to miss the last couple of races, I think, due to other commitments, possibly.
As for our leader, the white flag is already out as Michel Therrignon heads into Cascades. Daniel's headroom his way through Philippe to also himself take that white flag that probably these guys very much like to see right now. Just one more lap to get Michel Therrignon already through Shell Oil's corner. Does so very nicely, very cleanly through Britons for the very last time over the hilltop. Multiple times the front and rear tires get lifted up into the air, losing all traction, but still fully on the power. Michel Therrignon, the Frenchman, has no fear as he goes over Clay Hill into Water Tower. Droid's Corner, a very familiar name on a lot of British tracks, does that dangerous spot very easily. That very last time, Lodge Corner, the right-hander, the last right-hander of this track, and give it up for Michel Therrignon, your winner of round 10 of the Grand Prix Legends Series, live here from Oulton Park. The Frenchman takes home another victory for him. Bigger victory in behind, though, for second place. Rob Aleni closes in a lot of points on both Mick Ledge and Roman Pawlowski.
As Dave Price comes across the line to complete the podium in third place, a good result for Dave, and just Daniel Sadler and Peter Mikas will be coming across the line, as it looks like Colin Coker in front of Sadler, but Sadler will cross the line to finish in P4, and P5 will be Peter Mikas, and waiting for the rest of the cars to come across the line. As in the F2 Championship, I should say, is Antonio Rees will come across the line to finish in fifth, and that will help him massively in the F2 Championship to close the gap to Bill Tyler in that championship, and the rest of the cars will come across the line to complete the results.
Yeah, only a few more cars are racing here in England, so we're gonna step aside for just a few moments, but we will be quickly back for the post-race show, where we will run you down the unofficial finishing order, talk to some of the drivers, and close off a very eventful race. So don't step away too far, as GSRC will be back after these messages. we welcome you all back to the Grand Prix Legends post-race show streaming to your home on the global SimRacing channel via the iRacing eSports network. First thing on the agenda, as always in the post-race show, is your unofficial finishing order, which is being topped by Michel Dudignon, who was in the lead on the grid and took that green flag lead into a checkered flag victory, with him pretty much outstandingly controlling the field over Rob Olenek, who came home in second place, 4 seconds behind Michel Dudignon. Dave Price already 10 seconds back from Rob, 13 seconds in total in third place. Daniel Sadler fourth. Peter Mikos takes home a fifth place finish, with Antonio Rees himself also gaining a lot of points in that Formula 2 championship. There we go. With that 6th place finish. He's also the last car on the lead lap, with Telmo Amaral already being a lap down in 7th. Bruce Nelson, 8th place for him. Robert Reynolds, 8th place for him. Bruce Nelson, 9th. There we go. And over Train Rate, bringing home a 10th place finish.
And the rest of the race, or the rest of the result, say David Rossi, finished in 6 laps down in 11th. 12th place was Andrew Eng. Colin Coker finished in 13th, and Don Good and Roman Papslowski unfortunately retired from this race. I think that was the only retirements. So that my bad.
Hello.
Now talking to us though is Rob Olenek. Rob, I would say Oulton Park in the Lotus 49, one of the toughest race on the schedules. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I definitely agree. It's really fun though. I mean, it's a lot like Nord's, where something can go wrong at any time. Cars bouncing around all over the place. It's really hard to stay consistent and run like really consistent laps. I was doing pretty good in the beginning, keeping up with Michel. He's got better pace than me here. So for me to keep up with him was basically me driving perfect as long as I could. Little mistakes, the gap gets bigger. It's really tough. He's super fast.
Now, hopefully you can explain it a little bit better than I'm able to. How hard is it to keep this Lotus 49 under control up and over Hilltop with all those bumps in the road?
That's the corner after the really fast kink?
No, that's the long backstretch.
Which part are you talking about? The long after you go the double rights?
After the hairpin, that very long backstretch into the fast right-hand kink. We go over the hill.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard there. It's hard everywhere. The car. It's the beginning part of the track's not so bad. It's a little smoother. The end, when you're going through that whole section with the kink, the left, the double right, and then the final corner, it's really tough. The car's bumping. The timing of everything has to be perfect to hit it through there right. You really gotta be. Oh, you're talking about on the main straightaway.
Yes.
Coming up. Oh yeah. I mean, you would think that would be the best passing zone on the track. Well, there just isn't a great passing zone on the track because it's so hard to stay on the throttle. I mean, if you're going to try and make a move on someone there and just keep it down to the floor, you're probably losing it. Like it's slight little lifts just to keep it straight coming through there. Every once in a great while, you can almost keep it full throttle if it just happens to be tracking perfectly straight. I don't even know what the best line. I think the best line is a little off center in the middle to the left a little. And if you can just approach it perfectly straight, you can keep almost full throttle there, but it's 50-50 shot even at that.
Well, the best line is the one where you don't rag out like, sadly, Ove Trengrade found himself there at Hilltop. Rob, final words. Second place, lots of points for the championship. How are you looking forward to the last 2 rounds, knowing that especially the last round is going to be the Nordschleife?
That's just such a fun week. I'm hoping that a bunch more people show up just because that tends to happen there. A lot of people love that track. I do myself too. So it's really more of a battle of you versus the track, almost like here, but more so and more well known on that track. I don't know. I can't wait for that track. It's a lot of practice too, though. So just to get the timing down on that whole track takes quite a while.
Well, Rob, good luck in 2 weeks' time. Good luck in 1 week's time. Hope we're going to see you once again next week.
One more thing is, I don't know if you guys have been reading on the forums, but Mick's taking a bike tour around the world.
Yes.
Shortly, yeah. I just saying good luck to Mick. I don't know if he's going to be watching this, and we're all hoping that he has a great time, and we're going to miss him here in the 49.
Very much so. Great words from a great competitor. Rob Olenek, there's second place for him. Congrats once again on that second place, and good luck in 1 week. Next up, it is going to be Ryan Walker talking to Dave Price.
Yeah, hi guys.
Dave, hey Dave, how you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, quite happy with the third. I think I was a bit lucky today. Everyone kept crashing out around me, so just kept on the black stuff really.
Good stuff. I was about to say you finished on the podium, and what says? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's your first time or your first race of the season in the series. Is that right, or have you done a few races this season?
I think I've done one earlier this season. Hardly done any. I used to race every week, but real life stuff preventing that at the moment. I think I did Monza or somewhere like that, but I came along today because I thought Mick was going to be there. It was supposed to be his big farewell, but I understand he had a nice win on Thursday and thought he'd quit while he was ahead.
Yeah, from the when I was watching you doing the race, it looked like it was a bit of a race that you're just doing your own thing and picking up the pieces when other people were having their own issues. Case, or were you trying to just go as quick as possible and try and finish on the podium, which you managed to do? But what was your plan?
Yeah, I pushed a bit towards the beginning of the race. I was quite fortunate. Ove just slipped a bit wide come through Knickerbrook, and so I grabbed third from him. And I think I had Raymond behind me for a lap or two, and then he just disappeared. And I was sort of pulling away from Daniel. But I was no way I was going to catch up with Rob and Michelle. So it's just basically just trying to keep the pace up and more than anything, keep the concentration up as well, because it needs a bit round here. And I tend to drift off a bit if I haven't got anyone to race.
Yeah, I've had that a few times on races myself. When I've been on my own, it's kind of I try and keep my concentration up, but sometimes I end up just losing it because there's no one to race. But I have to say that was a great drive by you, keeping out of trouble to finish on the podium. And are you looking forward? Are you planning to race next week's track?
I think I'm away next weekend, but I'm hoping to. I keep threatening to sort of come back and race every week, and I'm hoping that next season might be the season that's happened, because it hasn't happened for probably over a year, and it probably shows a little bit with my pace, and I'm perhaps not where I quite used to be. So hopefully with a bit more practice, and that'll be able to give Rob a better race in future.
Good stuff. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just Mick Claridge, really. It was Mick who actually got me into iRacing in the first place. I'd never heard of it until about 3 years ago. I didn't know anything about SimRacing, and so Mick got me into it via a completely different sim, and obviously he's going off on his big trip, and I wish him well, and look forward to having him back.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining us, Dave, and congratulations on your podium result.
Yeah, cheers, Ryan. Thank you.
Up next, speaking to Stefan after finishing in the top 5 is Antonio Rees.
Yeah, fast as ever, Antonio Rees and the Lotus 49 community. They have already updated the points standings for the F1 Championship, and we can already say Rob Olenek just 1 point ahead going into the penultimate round of Roman Pawlowski there. So, yeah, it's very much on for a great season ending. But as already said, Antonio Rees now talking to us. Antonio, 6th place from 11th place. Going into the race on the starting grid after seeing you start at 11th place, did you think that you're going to get that far into the standings?
Hello, good night. Good night to you, and good night to everyone who's watching us. No, not at all. I have never imagined. So I was so slow, so I could not imagine I would finish in sixth place. Yeah, it was a lucky. Well, not a lucky. Unfortunately, the fast, the Bruce Nelson and Ove and the Rossi, they crashed, and that's the the reason I got the sixth place. I wish they didn't crash. I wish I could finish 10, but anyways, cheats happen as usually we say.
Bad luck for them, good luck for you, which means you also got closer in that F2 championship. I think you're now just less than 20 points away in that F2 championship. Actually, just 9 points away from Bill in that F2 championship. Is that something you're eyeing for, that F2 championship, or just take every race as it comes?
Yeah, I look for the championship, and basically I have no pace to fight Bill. I think Bill is going to win the F2 championship, but I'll try to keep the second place as much as I can. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Antonio, next week is going to be, I would say, one of the easier rounds that you're going to see here in the second half of the championship, with Imola going to be that penultimate round. How are you looking forward to that change of pace?
You think it's one of the easiest ones? I don't think so.
Well,
It's
compared to
tough for
Oulton
me.
Park and Nordschleife, it sure is.
Well, it's better than this, that's for sure, but it's not easy for me. Yeah, well, I will be doing whatever I can. Well, I'll try my best, that's for sure.
Well, Antonio, good luck for those last two rounds. And yeah, congrats once again on that sixth place.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good week. And anyway, see you next week.
Antonio Rees, your second place driver in the standings for the F2 class. But with that, GSRC would like to thank once again the iRacing Esports Network for having us on their talent lineup to bring you the great shows on iRacing into your home. Make sure to like and especially subscribe to that channel if you haven't done so yet. On top of that, we'd like to thank everyone on the track today for a great show, and especially the Lotus 49 community for contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. Right now on your screen, you can see all of the companies that provide us with their great hard and software GSRC uses to deliver you the best possible show. Additional thanks goes to June Lalonde, who provides us with her great masterpieces. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, please visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also find us on the social media platforms, Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, or on Instagram at GSRC_RAM. All of the upcoming races for our other series are now sliding across your screen, so check them out and mark them down on your calendar to not miss another second of exciting racing action. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, Ryan, Sean, and Dougie, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in as Michelle Dudignon took away the victory here in a little Butterworth. With that said, until next time, stay and sayonara! And as always, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.